Well, hello everyone. We're back with another live stream this week. I've got my usual panel here, House of the Dragon, episode review, recap, roundup, whatever you want to call it. This week's episode is, you guys have to remind me, what's it called again?
The Green Council.
The Green Council, yes. Yes, and as Rebecca says, we are on time. So tonight I have my usual panel. I have Tatiana Melendez here. I have Rebecca Shadowcat Becks here. And we have a very special guest. He's come back. I don't know why, David, you've come back. I'm always like, will David ever come back? Anyways, he's back. Fandom D Saint is here with us tonight. So before we get going and do a reaction to this episode, which was really interesting and fascinating, we're just going to go around and everyone is going to tell us a little bit about themselves. So why don't we start with you, Fandom? I already outed you with your name, by the way, after we talked about that.
Hey everyone, Fandom D saying here, and yes, I am back. I'm surprised Heidi invited me back so many times. I'm not that famous, I'm part of the common folk that was, coughing during the whole ceremony, which was kind of like irritating me. I don't think I was the only one. Like every so often, someone was coughing and coughing. I'm like, okay, someone has to shut them all up. Next thing you know, a dragon comes in near the end. So, but yes, glad to be part of this, round table for episode 9, the penultimate episode for the House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of people like to say penultimate, like it's just sort of like a fancy little word for the second to last episode. Okay, and next, Fandom, we're really happy you're here and that you came back, by the way. Next, let's go over to Tatiana and what's going on down in Puerto Rico. What's happening down there, girl?
Well, Heidi, I don't know if you see it, but from the north, there's coming a great strong wind. I'm just kidding.
A low front.
Well,
you're actually, thank God you're out of that for now, right?
Yeah, okay. Although like this morning, like at around 6 a.m., the power went out for like a few minutes, so that's always fun. Hi, I'm Tatiana Melendez. I'm from Puerto Rico, born and bred. And I am an actress, a singer, a costume designer, amateur, a costume enthusiast. Let's go with that one instead. And a highly stressed human being, because a lot of stuff are happening in my life very quickly, and I'm just trying to like juggle it all through. And tonight I am living my best Missaria fantasy, because like I'm feeling very Mistress of Whispers today. And also fuck Laris for burning my home.
Yeah, he's a dick, that one.
Ew.
Yeah. And Tatiana, you look beautiful, by the way. And I was going to say, all of us are a little bit, I don't know about, I can't speak for Fandom, but the 3 of us are kind of all wiped out. Like Rebecca and I were on Alicia's live stream last night. I think she's going to pop in, and we're using, Alicia, we're using your backdrop. I don't know if you're here, but
she's here.
She's here. Here she is. Little brother coming in from the cold north.
Yeah, it's a bit cold up here. That's why I'm like wearing some type of demon outfit right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you got the little bit of red in there behind you too.
Mm-hmm. We have a little bit of chilliness. That's all we have.
We're murder cloak.
What's that? A murder cloak, exactly. And then last but not least is Rebecca, who's here with us. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca, aka Shadowcat Becks. This is my Shadowcat Penelope, who has been feeling very neglected today. But yeah, you guys know me. I'm an editor and a nerd.
I think we're all nerds. Okay, anyone who's a nerd, put your hand up. And in the chat, if you're a nerd, in the chat, put your hand up. And we'll give you a shout out. Oh, actually, speaking of that, Tatiana, do you want to shout out everybody who's here so far?
Sure. We got, like you said, the lovely Alicia. Hey, girl. Hey. Carl Kosnock. Get in the house, Carl. Natural Selection. Sup. We got, I saw up over here, Master Beazled. I never know how to say Master Beazled? Bezeled? Beelzebub? I'm going to call you Beelzebub just as a cute nickname. And Terra Incognita. Sub homeboys. What? I'm sorry. I always try to go cool and it never works. No, and Marachese? Mara Cherise, sorry. Mara Cherise. Sup, bitch? What up? And Jebs, Boricua.
Did we get everybody so far? We got
I think
people are coming in.
now.
Jeps is here too.
Yeah.
I think we got everyone. Alicia is here. We mentioned. Okay, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna go around this group here, and we're going to get your first reaction to this episode. So, as Alicia says, we'll do guest rights, which always sounds sort of creepy, by the way. Guest rights. Always sounds like you're gonna be like the first to be sacrificed.
So Marshit.
Yeah. So Phantom, why don't we go to you? Why don't you give us your first impressions? I will remember to highlight you because I'm super tired, so my controlling isn't so good.
So yeah, I enjoyed the episode. Like it was kind of like a bit of mourning because after so many episodes, like for me, I'm not a book reader. I'm just a show watcher. So I was like, how many episodes is going to be until Varys dies? And just so many episodes are going by. I'm like, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And finally, episode 8, he dies. So in episode 9, it was just pretty much mourning and mourning and mourning, and then figuring out, okay, what are the next steps? See what they're going to do, and seeing what some of the steps were and what people were doing. And then, okay, it being, the second to last episode, how are they going to like top it off before the finale? And I'm just rethinking of like the first episode of not the first, but episode 9 of the first season of Game of Thrones, how it was like the beheading of Ned Stark. So I was like, oh, we're going to get something to top that. And for me, they didn't, but it was still enjoyable. And for me, the music in this episode, I enjoyed it because it's like another streamer did mention as well. It reminded me such of like Westworld and how like some of their music was. That's how I initially was summed up like
Wow,
the
David.
episode.
I thought the exact same thing when I heard the music because it's the same composer, right? So I was like, this sounds like something out of Westworld. Interesting observation. Okay, so next, why don't we go to Tatiana? Why don't you tell us your impressions?
So overall, I liked it. There were a lot of moments that I lived. Like I saw this at around 11 p.m. because I was doing something before, so I couldn't see it at the time. When I tell you that it was midnight and the ending happened, I was shrieking. My father had to burst into my room saying, "What the hell, bitch? We're sleeping." I'm like, sorry. I have a lot of emotions right now. But that being said, I did feel like it slowed down a bit too much towards the middle with Aegon's search. And there was like some it felt very uncomfortable overall because with Laris and just all the greens are just creepy creepos. And I will say, I think this is the episode that cemented Krispy Kreme as my most hated character. Even above Aegon, who I hate, even above Otto, I despise Krispy Kreme. Ooh, I had some feelings. We'll get into it, but I had some feelings. Oh, I wanted Harold to just stab him just right through the chest. Oh,
I have to agree. I think this was like the stream with you guys where someone mentioned that they was either episode 1 or 2 where they're like, I know what's gonna happen with Sir Kristen and I'm gonna hate him more, but you guys were like liking him in the first 2 episodes. So I was like, when is this gonna happen? Because I'm kind of like digging this guy. And literally as the season progressed, I'm like, I'm despising this guy. Get rid of this guy. Someone kill him already. And he literally just killed, forgot the councilman member's name, and like no one did anything. I'm just like, how much pull did this guy really have?
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Rebecca?
I really loved this episode. I thought it was fun. I liked the hunt for Red Aegon in King's Landing and in Flea Bottom. I thought it was like a very good kind of like early, like late 30s, early 40s, like black and white suspense film, like Fritz Lang, Hitchcock, and yeah, and 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 we'll get into it, but the end with my queen and the Red Queen, like, I know it was a little bit fan servicey. I know we're going to talk about like the potential plot holes with that whole thing, but I loved it. I don't care.
I'm kind of in like, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm at. I'm sort of in the middle. I one of the things I was mentioning last night on the stream that we had is I found kind of like Kristen Cole just kind of boring. Like I don't even think he's that great of a villain or anything. I just think he's kind of like boring. Like I said, at least Aegon is kind of a little bit interesting. Like, there's something a little bit in Aemond as well. I find those two kind of interesting, especially in this last episode. But kind of in the way like Joffrey, was really hated, but he was such a great character.
So
like, I mean, that he is one of the best villains in my memory. Top 10 for sure for me.
Wait, who?
What's the best Joffrey.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas I just find Kristen kind of a bore. Like, again, like yawn,
I think
from Dorne, he's really boring.
Yeah.
He's really boring.
He's not spicy.
I think that's part of why I despise him the most. That's partly why. But I think the main reason is because he's so self-righteous. Mm-hmm. It's just because at least Otto knows he's an asshole. Larys knows he's an asshole. Aegon knows he's an asshole. It's like they make maybe Otto like hit a bit more. We have politicking, but like they know the assholes. That little mosquito bitch. He thinks he's so honorable, and he's protecting the queen. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, I think Otto's kind of like a Dick Cheney, like he's like just, I'm just doing my job here. I'm doing my job, even if it's like backhanded and, corrupt and what have you.
Oh, absolutely. No. But Krispy Kreme is just so righteous and sanctimonious. And again, he's a nice guy. That's like, I think that's the main reason I hate his guts. He's a nice guy.
Nah, and he ain't a nice guy. No. I'm a nice guy. He ain't no nice guy.
No. You're
a nice guy trope. The nice guy trope.
I mean, a nice guy in TM, like the fake nice guy. That's who I mean. You're actually a nice guy.
That, turns super bitter when a girl says, "I'm sorry, I'm not interested," and it's like
basically an incel. He's like the nice guy type person, and that's just so disgusting to me. It's like, and when he said when they were searching for Aegon, women are, what was it that he said? Like, women are a representation of the mother to be reverenced. I was like, oh, fuck you. Fuck you, you ugly bitch.
But I also, with that line reading, like, I'm back and forth whether or not that's like actually something he believes or that's something it's just kind of like programmed into him. But it's like, oh, such a fine time for you to start like giving words of wisdom to these like two shithead kids that you have essentially like been in charge of to some degree, like for the last like 20 years or however long it's been.
What was I gonna say?
There's so much.
Do you want to start? We can start like at the beginning.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I think in terms of Krispy Kreme, it's the same with Alicent, in which the saying, the best lies are the ones you believe yourself. That's basically them. They live in this fantasy and they are not getting out of it.
Yeah, that's a bit like a Trump thing, right? Like I think he honestly believes. Sorry if there's any Trump lovers in the chat. I don't think so though. But he kind of, I think sometimes he actually drinks his own Kool-Aid. I think he.
Oh, absolutely. Says, right? He guzzled that shit down like it was water.
Okay, so why don't we can start at the beginning. Like, so we start off the episode. There's like a little boy running through the palace, and then he goes and tells the maid, and then. Next thing you know, like, okay, they're all in the small council. So do you want to start from there? What were your thoughts on all of that? Fandom, why don't you go and tell us sort of what your thoughts are about how that all went down?
Well, first, it didn't surprise me much that they all were like planning and scheming without Allison. And then like she was shocked, like, wait a minute, you guys were just planning my ascension for my son without me. Yeah, it's been like discussed since like the first episode. Like this is like a man's world here. That they're gonna be planning stuff like without her. And then in the whole planning, it's obvious that they were going to plan on killing Rhaenyra and her kids and everyone. And then she was like, hold up, I don't even want this to happen. And then even with Otto, he's like, well, what do you expect? Like several episodes before, he's like, what do you expect is going to happen when Rhaenyra goes onto the throne? So I was happy about that whole discussion with her then. Because even like some people were like, oh, she's going to be like the next Cersei. But if Cersei was in that room, Cersei would have been okay with that. She would have been like, get everyone to Dragonstone and kill everyone. That and then the whole friggin' Krispy Kreme situation happened. I'm just like, hold up. Why didn't no one disarm him? Why no one remove his damn cloak? But then in the previous episode, they're getting ready to disarm Daemon the moment he sliced someone.
Yeah, good point. By the way, don't take anything that Fandom says about Cersei. You have to take it with a grain of salt because he's totally biased.
Are you a
True,
big
true,
Cersei
true.
fan?
Yes. So,
Yeah, so just
in
everything he
advance.
says about Cersei. No, I'm teasing you. No, it was a very good point. I totally agree. What about you, Rebecca? What did you think of how that whole? I mean, it was kind of expected, but maybe in terms of the fact that they were, plotting behind Allison's back. What do you
Well,
think
I
about
mean,
that?
that's something I have kind of like a lot of issues with as far as like kind of general story writing because Allison has been saying to Aegon like you are going to be king. So for her not to have maybe for her not to have any inkling that this is something that her father is moving towards, I don't buy it. But but as far as like, the deposing of Rhaenyra, like, okay, like that, I understand that maybe like they didn't go that far with her, but there's just, and I can't decide if it's like kind of bad storytelling or if it's like just how deep like this character is in her own delusions about like everything that's going on. And also, and I said this, yes, Jeps, 100%. But I said this in Alicia's in AK stream last night, like, you know, Lara CK is feeding her all these secrets in exchange for her feet porn, like foot porn. Like, why didn't he ever tell her this? Like, and at some point, like, why didn't she, confront him? Like, you're keeping shit from me, and I'm like, your OnlyFans page.
That's such a great point. Um, and also it's kind of like I'm thinking about Queen Elizabeth. When she passed away, you don't think that they've had months in the planning of her passing away? It's
Yeah, I mean, and considering how long
yeah.
Viserys was sick.
Yeah, it's like when someone has. This is why when there's a sudden death in your family, it's so shocking. But when someone like they're in they're in what do they call it, hospice or something like that, you can at least plan and so it would totally make sense. Like I'm surprised. Yeah, like I'm kind of like you're surprised that they were planning this. Like really? But I think what she didn't like about it was that it was done behind her back.
Right.
All right. What about you, Tatiana? What are your thoughts about all this?
I mean, on one hand, you might think that she knows her dad, but she has been doing his bidding for this long. She might have gotten used to it. But when it came to killing Rhaenyra, there is that like little turn on the light moment for her, because love or hate her, they did have history together, and at one point the history was good. So it's like when I said, are you saying this as a queen or as the princess's former friend or lover or whatever? So again, Allison works best when she believes her lies. So I do like, and again, Laris chooses what to tell the queen because he knows he has her in his grasp. If he don't think that not the knowledge that Otto is conspiring against Rhaenyra is going to benefit him at the moment, he's going to hold off on it until the moment is right. Or so it doesn't surprise me that he didn't tell her about it. Although, yeah, it does make Allison come across as a bit dumb. Again, she is woefully ignorant to so many things because she just has to live on that pedestal. She has like altitude sickness from that high ass pedestal that she's in. So it doesn't surprise me, and it also leads to the scene between her and Otto after they find Aegon, which honestly is probably one of my favorite scenes of the episode because it was so important for her to just call him out on his bullshit.
Yeah. Like really great points. What there's one thing I want to ask you guys. Like, she actually showed a little bit of emotion over Viserys. Like, do you believe
She was the only one, really?
Yeah, she was. But did you feel that she was actually kind of like sad for the loss of him? Do you think she was crying for other reasons?
I think I go back and forth on that, and I'm sure that's something like the fandom will be going back and forth on. Like, yeah, I don't think that, she wasn't in love with him. She was put in that situation. We can talk about like that social structure that they have going on, but I don't think that their relationship was totally unconsensual and that she didn't have like, feelings for him and didn't care about him. And then also, when you're someone's caretaker for so many years, because pretty much the whole time they were married, he had some sort of illness. Like, those tears might have been like tears of like relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And it's like in the beginning of their like relationship, with believe it or not, it's like when they were bonding, it's like, oh, like when he lost his wife, she was like, oh, I know I lost my mother, and they were like, that's how like their relationship kind of started. Until it's like it's that unconditional love where it's like, I bared your children type of thing. So once he passed away, like she felt something there.
Yeah, I think it's complex emotions that she's feeling because yes, this was an arranged marriage. She might not have loved him romantically, but he was as good a husband as he could be, and I think she recognizes that, and he was kind to her. Dismissive, sure, because woman and because young, but within the parameters of the wedding, he was kind. Even when they had to have sex, he was gentle with her, which he didn't have to be. He could have been a beast. So within those parameters, I think she might have grown to be fond of Viserys, if not love him. She said she loved her husband, but maybe it was like a friendship type thing. And yeah, you mourn your friends.
Yeah.
Well,
it was
like even like during
their in the kingdom with him, like even.
And then the last episode when they were having their dinner, like, and that brief moment when everyone was happy, like she was holding his hand and she actually looked genuinely happy for like the first time as Olivia Cook, as Alicent, like looked genuinely happy. So
Yeah, that was like a Thanksgiving dinner, like where, eventually the table just gets turned over. You ever see that viral video where there's people having Thanksgiving and then one guy just takes the whole table and flips it over?
Oh my
That's what
God, no.
Yeah, I know it's pretty funny. It's like they're all in the well, it's not funny. It's actually really sad because it's a real family. But I mean, we've had moments like that in my family, where someone's walked out or someone's been really pissed off or whatever. Like, that's what happens sometimes with families. So yeah, I think that there was some kind of affection there. But I think someone was saying this, even like maybe given what was going to be in front of her, that might have been just completely overwhelming. Oh, holy
Yeah.
shit, I have to now deal with this.
Yeah.
Maybe she thought she had more time, So I think those are great points.
Although, question, why wasn't there a Kingsguard guarding Viserys? I mean, I know that he was in his sickbed, but if with more reason, guard the king. I think it should. I mean, why?
There's lots of lack of guarding. Have you not noticed?
Is that
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
show?
No one knows where any time.
Yeah, there's this back staircase that suddenly has
being
made
guarding as like the Lord Commander of Kingsguard? I'm just
Yeah.
Well, but also that doesn't mean, because he died in his sleep and it was just like a cupbearer that came in, and that cupbearer probably already knew, like, you don't tell the Kingsguard shit, you go to Talia.
perhaps.
I think it's like the spy network. But your point stands, like, he could have like walked out and there could have been like guards there, if not the Kingsguard.
Yeah.
And
like I get this that they were like trying to give that sense of loneliness, but I don't know, it's nitpicky. It doesn't ruin the episode by any means, but it's like, you can't help but think of it.
Well, I also thought the same. It's like, why aren't Aegon's kids like at his crowning? But I mean, I know why, but
They're babies.
and also they didn't really like, sort of in Targaryen tradition, is it tradition to go ahead and do the crowning before you even, bury the body or burn the body? Like, I don't remember, or does it have to lay in state? I can't remember exactly the tradition. Because his body was just basically shrouded, and then the
Not even sure. They were just
Faithful
like
just sort of-
hurrying up just to get him like
yeah.
I think the
crowned at
political-
that point.
Yeah,
Because in the books it was like a week. I think they kept it hidden for a week or something like that.
right. But I think that's just something like, the show has decided, like, well, Allison and Otto are not necessarily on the same side per se, or like they don't agree with like how to go about it. When in the books, it doesn't seem like there's that much of a differential about how to like go about all this stuff.
Okay, so do you want to talk about now like the hunt for Aegon, and they got the two groups that are going out hunting for him, the twinnings, as Rebecca and I were saying, we're going to each take a twin.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Tatiana's going to be
before
like, wait a second.
Sorry.
I'm good.
We called dibs on them last
I'll
night.
take Damon.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay. So, yeah.
But before that, I just want to say Harold Westerling is a real one. He's a real badass motherfucker. I love they said, bitch. They say for me, until there is a king sitting on that throne, don't call me. I don't need this. It's like, no. I was like, yes, bitch. Thank you. And now, can you please skewer fucking Krispy Kreme? That's all you need to do before you leave. I mean, they don't give a shit about another body. It's still there. Poor Beesbury is still there, just living his worst death. With like, Jesus Christ. So I was like, you know what? Although it was weird, because he threatens Krispy Kreme, and then he like stops, takes off his cloak, and then just leaves. I was like, it's a bit anticlimactic, but I still like mad respect.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out like, how did he get out? Like, because they kind of like,
Or did he
get out?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole thing is so weird. Well, what do you think about it, fandom?
Well, it was kind of like similar to like Sir Barristan in Game of Thrones. Is like when he left, it's like no one really followed after him, really, did they? Or as much? Well, show
They
wise.
fired him. They actually fired him.
hmm
He
And after
wasn't.
you,
He didn't quit.
oh, well, that tells you how long I've been watching the first
Yeah,
season.
your Cersei. Your Cersei was behind that, by the
Hey,
way.
hey, 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 hey. Maybe it was a
And
good decision.
he's like, wait, you can't fire
He
me.
died in the hallway, damn it.
Yeah, you can't fire me. I'm like, this is for life. And he went over and joined Danny's team. You remember that? He left and joined Danny's team.
And she died, and he died in the hallway,
Oh yeah,
to
he
all
did.
those.
He did
die
die in the hallway.
So
Oh, in that hallway.
maybe
Yes,
it was
yes,
a good
sorry.
decision
Poor
that
guy.
Cersei fired him.
I know. But I was saying last night that I love how Harold just sort of takes off his robe gently and then he just sort of wraps it up nicely and puts it on the table. Like he doesn't go like, fuck you, throw it on the table or whatever. It wouldn't matter anyway because it doesn't, like theatrics with those people doesn't make,
Well,
it doesn't do anything.
But if he had, I mean, considering like they didn't bat an eye when Crispy, like, face planted poor Lord Beesbury, like, and that also
That's
okay.
senior abuse, by the way.
Yeah,
Just gonna put that
senior
out
abuse.
there. Yeah.
Add
Yeah.
to the
Senior
list.
Add to the list of why Krispy Kreme is the worst human ever.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the worst death.
But like when Beesbury declared like, this is fucking treason, and that's what he was met with. Like I can see like Westerling being like, okay, you know what? I'm staying out of it. I'm Switzerland right now until you guys figure it out. But I don't for a moment believe that they're like, oh yeah, he's gonna be fine while we figure this out. I mean, like they definitely declared Cole Lord Commander, and it's like, well, where's Westerling? Like, and I'm sure it was a little bit like they just didn't want to repeat a Barristan Selmy story. But it's like they were like shutting things down. They were locking up all the servants. Like, what happened to Harold Westerling?
I mean, yeah, because the boss is already dead by this time, right? So this is not in the books. Him being in the Green Council.
Yeah.
And also, I'm wondering, did they decide ahead of time that Kristen was going to take over as the commander of the Kingsguard? Like they might have made that decision ahead of time.
They probably, I'm guessing they were going to have that happen. Like maybe if Westerling had been like, great, this sounds perfect, guys, like they would have been like, okay, but they knew that they could at least move him into that position. And also like that was Allison that said it, and that could have been like her, like like he's been my loyal sworn sword for years. So
yeah, he's her mad dog.
Okay, so we're all and obviously we know that just based on the trailer. Sorry if there's spoilers that if we talk about any spoilers, but just in the trailer we see him, so we know he's going to show up there, right? So
okay, that's good.
Apparently, this is the last episode this season for Allison, so we're not going to be with the Greens. I don't think the rest of the season, at least most of the Greens, or her. We won't be with her.
We're not going to see her.
Yeah, she's done for the season. So I'm hoping, like I was laughing, the costume designer's like, how many green dresses can I design, like, and make them look different? I'm like, well, how about just doing different shades of green? Like, you don't have to do forest green. Someone came up with that concept, not sure who. But anyway, that, I don't know. Like someone was saying that by the end of this, the greens will be in fluorescent because they have really no place
in neon.
In neon, they'll be in neon green, like Wham or
Although
something.
I will say, this particular dress, outside of like the episode 5 dress, her I'm here bitch dress.
Yeah.
I think this is probably my favorite green dress of her.
Yeah, it's my favorite too, for sure. I agree, Tatiana.
It's the same dress when she sees Rainey's
in her room, yeah.
Because there's something about the dress that I felt like in next to Eve Best, like Eve Best, I guess is very tall, and Olivia Cook is very short, but like there's something like that dress, and I'm sure it's on purpose to a certain degree. Like that dress makes her look older than she is, and her hair and the styling, like, but she's always like, I feel like she's always like kind of hunched over.
Yeah, that might have been like because she's supposed to, like someone was saying that like so there's really weird things going on with the casting. So she's supposed to be in her 30s, but the actor is actually only in her 20s, which I find kind of hard to believe because she looks like older than that. I was kind of surprised. And then the actors who are playing like her sons are actually in their 20s, I guess.
So they're all the same age.
So they're all the same age. It's really weird. So I think that they did a good job with that, like in my opinion, like with her hair, like you said, and then even with her headdresses, look, make her look more matronly, make her look more like the Dowager Queen as opposed to just the princess or the queen.
Well, she's
yeah,
28. I just looked it up. She's 28. But even
Yeah,
like
so
in
she's
her
pushing.
30s, like, 30s aren't like, like Austria.
No, yeah, I know. I think it's because she's a mom. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like to be fair, I am a mother with children that are the same age as her children, but I'm actually much older. I'm in my 50s, but so I don't know if
I
it's
don't
just,
believe it.
it's true. I'm 55. So, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just because of the weight of the crown, like the weight of it or something.
Well,
Like maybe
yeah.
she's, because I know like Patty was sort of doing a lot of physical, even before he was showing signs of like the disease. He just had that hunched over thing. And I was always like, we talked about it, I think, in one of the first live streams we did. We were saying he looked like he just had the weight of the world on his shoulders. So maybe it's just kind of crushing her. Like, and it's all self, like she's done it to herself, really. Many of these things. Yeah, some look younger in 30s or older. But I was.
But
really
sorry. I was. If we're talking about ages, I do think that at least Krispy Kreme needs like a gray streak or like a beard or some gray in his beard because I can understand like Olivia still looking young because she was a teenager at the start of the series. This motherfucker was already a grown ass man. So.
Oh yeah,
Totally
no,
agree.
there's some weirdness there for sure. Like they're not aging up. Like I was saying the same with Damon.
Yeah,
Someone
I mean,
said that. I mean, at least with Damon, he wouldn't have gray hair, though.
although he doesn't look unchanged except for like they only changed like his hairstyle. Even Damon, maybe it's Matt Smith's acting. He does feel older and more mature, and also he's blonde, so he's so white.
Yeah.
Can just like hide better. But that motherfucker is like.
But one of the things I thought, like regarding Viserys, is that he at the beginning he had a salt and pepper beard, and I was like, why didn't they just shave that? Even I think it was Jack who pointed out he looks so much older with that beard. They could have shaved it to make him look younger, and then as he got older, he could grow in that salt and pepper. So there was some weirdness with the aging. I think definitely with Damon, I totally agree. Or sorry, Krispy Kreme. Yeah, some wisps of gray or something.
Cole is drinking baby blood. Oh my god, no.
Well, I said that about Damon on last night's stream. It's like, well, of course he's not going to age when he's drinking like the blood of like newborn dragon babies.
Well, it's not that. He's just a Time Lord. It makes sense that he doesn't age.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he's like they're aliens.
Hey, Red Wolf. Red Wolf.
Yeah.
It's so nice to see you. He says, time for a villain mustache on Krispy Kreme. Like, Well, it's funny. And then again, the actor who plays, the Scottish actor who plays Harold from Outlander, he looks exactly the same. Like, no change. The only one that changed, they did do a receding hairline on some of them, like Strong, what is it?
Or Lionel.
Lionel Strong,
yeah, Lionel Strong definitely like looked older.
Yeah, and Beesbury had, I think, originally like longer hair, and then they did some receding on them, but just I don't know, the whole thing's really weird. Yay! I'm so glad you're here. Awesome. Yeah, Eric has got the best beard. Agreed. Well, what's the twins' name? What's Eric's twin?
Arik and
Eric and Arik.
And Arik.
And Arik is the one with Allison in the greens.
Ah, yes.
A.
Makes
How do you
sense.
spell
and,
it? Like
and Eric,
is it ARRYK?
It's like A and Ray.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, Arik.
I was confused, like
I'm
the entire episode with those twins.
Yeah, they did us no favors, and then like some of the subtitles were incorrectly labeled because like Arik is the one fighting Kristen Cole, and Eric is the one that's like,
Peace out.
not getting involved in this mess. And then at some point, Arik yells out to Eric, but then they like totally like mislabeled it. So it was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wait, is that Eric fighting?
I'm
Like,
actually surprised that George doesn't have it spelled AERYK
Like-
and then AE. Oh, they both do the same. The AEARY.
I'm
Because everything.
surprised he just didn't spell them the same.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Well,
Like, seriously,
Eric and
like-
Eric. That's like, do you remember the Muppet movie? There's like, we're Marley and Marley. Woo! Remember the Muppet movie? Or this is my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl.
Oh, Newhart.
Yeah. Sorry, all my references. Yeah.
I love Newhart when I was a kid.
Oh, it's such a great show.
Or, like,
Totally.
An 8-year-old that like was like, Bob Newhart is the great.
I know he's so good in Elf, by the
Yes.
way. If you guys have seen Elf, he plays the dad in Elf. He's
Oh.
so good.
No, he plays like the head elf.
Papa Elf.
Oh, Papa Elf.
Yeah,
But he wasn't.
Papa Elf. He's Elf's dad, like in like not his real dad, but
Yeah.
his elf dad, adoptive father. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. A is for Valarians, so they're not Valarians, so they don't get the AE.
Fair, you know what? Good point. I don't even remember where they're from.
Yeah, where are they from?
Hold on. Talk
Yeah.
about yourselves.
Thanks, Alicia. He is. So, should we talk about my Saria?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm
Oh my
glad
God,
she
oh
has
my God.
to do finally, at long last. Hallelujah.
Oh, so are okay. I said this last night. I could not handle her accent. It was driving me bonkers. Like it was just so bad for me.
I'm getting used to it. I'm like, it's like seeing that she has such good intentions, like working with the devil to get some help for the children. I'm like, I respect that. That's why I'm dressed as her right now.
Yes.
Like, I
She had a nice
respect that.
costume this episode.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the same one as last episode, but she just wore her shawl in a different way.
Yeah, she just had the dress, I think, and then she had like sort of almost like a what
Yeah,
you
the
call it,
shawl,
pashmina
the
or
shawl,
something.
the shawl she had around her elbows. She just put it around her shoulders.
No, I was saying last night that I read this online that apparently they had her in the subtitles. People couldn't even understand what she was saying in the subtitles.
And I always watch with subtitles, and yet this one time I'm just like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I could get used to it.
What about you, Rebecca? Do you have a comment or do you care?
I'm sorry. I was like, I got sucked into like Eric and Art. They're from the Crownlands.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
and there's no more House Cargill.
Okay.
It's like once we're like in the book series, like they're gone, and their sigil is a goose.
Oh my
on
gosh,
a
really?
red and black field.
Really?
I learned
Okay.
a lot in those like couple minutes. What are we talking?
No, I was just saying. Like we talked about this last night. Were you okay with my Saria's accent? You know,
No.
bonkers.
No, it's like I said, she sounds a little bit like Yvette from the movie Clue.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a really like it's a combination of a weird accent and like a very affected speech pattern. Which it's
I
just
think people
like
were comparing her to Shay, but I think that's Shay's actual like accent, isn't it?
well,
Or
yeah,
did she put
she-
that-
No.
no,
She put that on?
German.
Oh, she's German. Okay.
She's a German actress, so like I mean, like I'm sure there might have been a little bit, but Shade like has an accent when she speaks English.
Yeah, that's why it sounded more natural.
Well, Red Wolf was saying, yeah, I think it's kind of like maybe a Creole or something. It kind of had like a, Louisiana, French Louisiana, maybe.
Maybe it's like Southern by way of China.
Yeah,
Because like her speech patterns, they try to go for like that Asian sense of musicality that you have with like Japanese and Chinese and Korean.
Mm-hmm. But she's actually a Japanese American, I think,
or British
or British.
I think she's British.
Because when it's hard. Like in Ex Machina, she doesn't talk at all. I don't think actually, but in Devs she does, and she puts on an American accent, and it's perfect. Like it's like you would never know. That's why I think I originally thought she was American when I first saw it. And then she's also in that other really weird one. I can't remember. It'll come to me later on. But I am a Japanese British. Okay, thank you. But I am a big fan of hers, just not, this performance. So that's just. But I was kind of glad she's not really in it too much, because then it would really take away from my enjoyment of the show, I think.
I mean, I think what helped me to like get over the accent was seeing the fighting, the what they're actually dubbing, and I can't believe they're dubbing this. They're dubbing the child fighting pits, the Pokemon pits.
Oh my gosh.
I like Kindergarten Fight Club.
Yeah.
I also Kindergarten Fight Club, but I've heard like Pokemon the Pokemon pit.
The
I was
thing
like,
is,
oh
too,
my God.
like, there's a lot of stuff in this show, and I sometimes think it's put in there, and you could discuss, like, there's all kinds of things in this episode. Sometimes I kind of feel like they're putting stuff in there just for shock's sake. Like we were talking about Shakespeare, or not Shakespeare, we were talking about Hitchcock earlier. Didn't Hitchcock say something about just shock, like doing something for shock's sake, as opposed to
the Bob under the table example that he always uses.
Yeah.
That there's a group of people around a table talking, and they're in about a minute of talk, and then boom, a bomb goes off. You have 10 seconds of suspense, but you tell the audience like 5 minutes before there's a bomb under the table, and so it go every time someone's talking and they're talking, all that time we know that there's a bomb on the table, and you just want them to do something. So the suspense and the shock gets higher and higher.
Yeah, but that also is like a little bit like later Hitchcock too. Like I was watching it, like, and I push back on it. Like I know I brought it up, but like it's not like a direct correlation. But I was thinking more like a movie like The 39 Steps or like M, especially like when Rainey's is trying to get out of the city, and then like the mob in all directions like push them, in the opposite direction that they think they want to go, but then that's ultimately the direction that they do want to go. Like I think it's, when we're referring to this episode, like, yeah, we don't have like that Chekhov's gun per se. But it's more like the timing and the suspense of the action and the fact that like multiple people are after like the same thing.
Yeah, like I just some of the stuff, I mean, to be honest with you, because it was just so like ridiculous and stuff, I just was kind of like, I wasn't even upset by that scene. I was like, whatever. And then so then when it came to my Saria's sort of plea, I was just like, it didn't work for me. I was just like, oh well, like I don't know. I
like the fight, like her plea to stop the fighting. Yeah, there's something like I'm not quite on board with her character at the moment. Because like I don't actually buy that she gives a shit about the common folk.
Yeah, I'm sort of the same. Oh, go ahead, Tatiana.
I would disagree in the sense that could it have been better established? Yes. However, we know her backstory, or somewhat of her backstory, from like her scenes with Damon, and how she said that she didn't come to him for like jewels or prestige or anything like that. She came for liberation because she went through hell as a child, and so her sympathizing with the children of the fighting pits and pleading on their behalf, it doesn't surprise me. And again, could it have been better established? Could there have been a scene or even a moment, let's say in episode 3, when Damon and Rhaenyra go into the city? Was it 4? 3 or 4.
Mhm.
And then there might have been like a moment where even if it's just like looking at it from afar, they can establish something close to the fighting to the baby fighting pits. Then it could have been better established. I will give you, but I do buy it more from her that she would care.
Yeah, I think it's more not just like I don't know if we needed like so much with her, but it's again, it's like the same thing I've been bitching about this whole season. It's just like I okay, I get it with Allison and Rhaenyra. Like, you know, we got so little of the outside world. And that's a choice that the show made, and fine, but it's like, you know, all of a sudden, like, you know, I guess I always took her conversation with like Damon to be more about self-preservation. And so it's not totally out of left field based off that, but it's also like we haven't heard that for 6 episodes, like 6 or 7 episodes. Like, and I just
Yeah, I agree with Jeps. Well, we said at least we needed one more episode, probably maybe 12.
Yeah.
I think we needed one less Millie. Oh God, who's Allison?
Okay.
Yeah,
Emily Carey.
yeah,
Emily
like Millie,
Carey.
Emily. Like we needed
Yeah.
one less young.
Oh yeah, and more yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and the other thing is someone was saying, and I kind of agreed with this because you know when the character posters came out, like Massaria, she was featured very prominently, and I was expecting her, and I was excited to see that she was going to have a pretty good role, and she doesn't. So unless maybe season 2 she kind of has something more going on.
I think this is like the true beginning of her story, because I'm pretty sure that after this episode, she's gonna be switching sides. She's not gonna be working for Otto anymore, because like Firefly motherfucker burned her
house down now.
Exactly.
That was her house, right?
Yes.
Was that her
Yeah.
house?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I kind of missed it because there was so much going on. Like there was a lot of stuff going on, and I was like, "What's going on?"
I had to see a review of the. I have to see a review or a reaction or whatever of this episode to see. Oh, that's Miss Saria's house.
Because after that conversation with Lars
I was so
and
horrified
Allison,
by the Sorry, go ahead, Fandom.
because after that conversation with Lars and Allison and talking about, oh, you know, you have spies. I'm like, okay, so I'm guessing next thing you know, he's gonna burn down her base of operations. So, and that's what pretty much happened within that whole music number thing that happened.
Well, they had a lot going on at the same time, but I think a lot of people like me were like, after the scene with Laris, we were like, oh my god, and then you know, I think that,
and forgot
what is going on here, and then we're right into
talked about,
and then I think we're into Rainey's being like, you know, taken out, and then we see a guy just kind of walking by, and I was like, at first I was like, what is going on? So yeah, there was I don't know, maybe Rebecca, maybe you can speak to this, but maybe it's the way it was edited. It would just sort of like didn't I didn't register it. I mean, it makes sense story wise.
I have to watch it again. But we used to live in a world where we'd be like, what was that house? What was that house? And then like wait until the next episode, be like, oh, that was hers. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
yeah, maybe they'll show it burned or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't recall it. I mean, it wasn't a big question for like. I was like, oh wait, that's
everyone's singing David Byrne's "Burning Down the House."
Yeah,
burning down the house.
Yeah. That's like I keep singing the song, you know, I can't remember who the writer is, but you know, Allison, I keep singing it. Allison,
is that?
I know this world.
Oh, Elvis Costello.
Yeah, I keep singing it like that with Allison.
You're all traumatized by the
the footloose, the foot patootie Lucy.
The Fatootie.
I'm just gonna call it the footloose moment.
Yeah.
So, should we get? Do you have pictures, Heidi?
I have like
pictures. I have a few pictures. Yeah. I didn't.
Don't tell me about that scene now.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it? We don't have to unless
I was talking
I
about you
mean,
have photos of the scene now.
Well, no, I have just
yeah.
one.
Okay, double check.
I don't have any. Is this it?
I sent her like a shit. I
Oh,
always
no,
send
that's
you like
not
a
it.
shit ton
She did,
of
but there it is.
episodes.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I just have that one. Because I didn't have time to download them all. But
okay.
yeah. So there he is. Do we have a nickname for him? Do you guys have a nickname
Lara
for him?
CK.
Oh, that's right.
Later.
Lara CK. Yes. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. And if anybody doesn't know, that's like Louis CK. Who came up with that? Did you come up with that?
No,
Rebecca?
no, someone on Twitter. So, if anybody needs like a really good podcast to listen to about this stuff, I highly recommend the Joffrey podcast.
Oh, it's a
They're
good
Okay.
name.
they're very funny. Like, it's not like one's a book reader, one's not. It's a very light-hearted approach to all this stuff, but serious at the same.
We're dead serious on this channel, though.
Oh,
right,
well,
Rebecca?
yeah, no, I think like if you like us, you'll like them. But they were doing they do these like match game things, and I watched the episode like 2 hours behind, and I saw their thing, and like I just like answered like I can't remember what the prompt was. I was like, oh yeah, Laris, he's Louis C.K. because that's all I was thinking. Like as soon as like it was like very clear, it's like, all right, like he's gonna start jerking it right now. And so Louis C.K. and then someone responded to my tweet and he said Laris C.K. So
Day is saying, Heidi, also Damon has an armor riding the dragon in the Stepstones episode like Rainey's in this episode. Well, it's actually his same armor. Like
yeah, and Laenor wore armor
yes.
as well at the Stepstones.
Yes.
Also,
So-
although I do want the like considering the Footloose moment, I do want to make one thing clear. Laris is not gross because he has a foot fetish.
Right.
If you have a foot fetish, more power to you. You go get someone who's consensual to it and live your best live your best life.
Now,
He's gross because he coerced Alicent to feed his foot fetish. That is why he's gross. Because I don't want anyone to get confused here.
yeah. No. We are very pro
Kink.
anti kink shaming here.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, that's not.
It's power, right? It's power.
Oh yeah. Now,
and it's about control and about power and domination over Alicent.
yeah, and as was brought up last night, but there was like another episode where like Alicent like took her shoes off. I need to watch that again. So
Oh, she did.
Yes, but we
Oh.
were
Yeah,
saying
because
under
look-
the table though.
right, like so, like that might have been like some like potentially like clunky foreshadowing. I'm fascinated to know how things got to this point.
Yes.
I'm so fascinated. And yeah,
Well,
no,
they've been
Laris
having
was a
like
piece
they've
of
been
cake.
having these dinners together. I'm assuming like she doesn't dine with her husband. It appears like I remember like Viserys was dining with Rhaenyra, but we never saw a scene where Alicent was dining with Viserys. So it seems like she just always takes her dinner, her meals in her chambers. And he just is always sort of her like eating companion. It appears like he goes, I waited for you, or I didn't wait for you, kind of thing. So I'm, it seems like, and the fact that he would just be in her chambers, which again, I'm like, I think we were talking about this before about Alicent going into the king's chambers. Him just going into her chambers, that's a pretty crazy thing to be doing, right?
I mean,
without
I
her
don't know.
permission.
I mean, I would. I don't know. Like, I feel like in a lot of like costume regency dramas, like all of a sudden, like somebody is like in your bedchambers, and it's like you weren't invited. But like, I don't know how like the apartments are, et cetera, et cetera. But did Tatiana or Fandom, like, did you notice like when Alicent went in and like she comes in and she hears Laris from behind and she just like sighs and says, the hour is late. It's the exact same thing she said when she, like in episode 4, when she
Yeah,
was summoned to Viserys's bedchamber to
same
perform her
thing.
duty.
Yeah.
Like they
Exactly.
did a
She don't
lot
want to
of,
do this.
yeah,
There's a lot of parallels because I think it's because this is sexual assault. But I think it's because Alicent, she grew up thinking that sex and sexual situations are duty, are only for duty or to get something. It's a very Cersei-like way of thinking. Maybe that's why Cersei likes her so much.
Well, that's why I was comparing it to Sex in the City last night. So I was mentioning in Sex in the City. So Charlotte, she discovers this really great shoe store, and in the shoe store, there's a guy who works there. The actor who plays him is great, by the way. And she discovers she can get free shoes. But the exchange, like there's an exchange of currency, is that he gets to fondle her feet and smell her shoes and everything, right? So this is what I was looking at this as. I was looking at this as a transaction. This is an exchange. Like, you're going to do this for me, and I will reluctantly. She's obviously pretty grossed out by it, but she's like, okay, this is the exchange. You're going to take care of this thing for me. In exchange. And, although I did say I was surprised that she didn't kind of give him one of her stockings, because I thought that would have been funny. If
I thought that was gonna happen too. Honestly,
he would have put it in his pants or something.
Like that was like the most unsexy way to like take off stockings. Like,
well, I know. I don't think
she's just like,
yeah, she's
oh
like,
my
oh,
god, like
fuck, whatever
about it was just like,
I know
yeah, she's like,
people are reluctant to call this coercion, but I do think it's coercion because remember, he has stuff on her.
Yeah.
Like, he can say, because he don't give a shit about himself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she ordered the murder of my father and my brother. You can say it. He has
but
stuff
even
on her.
then, even if he says that, it's like, who is like anyone gonna like really believe? You know, she's like the queen, all her hand.
Have his methods. Again, this is Laris we're talking about. He will have his methods. He knows that he has ways to ruin the queen.
I would have loved to see Cersei in this situation to see how Cersei would have dealt with this.
Oh, it would have been a power is power type thing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you did because Cersei hooked up with Euron, or like in the show.
That's true. You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like that, it's like the exact same thing with Euron. I'm only like, for whatever reason, I've also decided to do a season 8 rewatch.
You're brave. I haven't watched it in a long time.
No, Red Wolf, you have to tell me. You have to give more explanation to me on that. That would be
Oh
awesome.
yeah, there was a little
like embroidery,
like embroidery on her stocking.
Yeah, that's really nice. Well, and we did notice in I don't know if it was episode 6, I think Rhaenyra was wearing stockings, so I was really excited to see that during the love scene with Daemon.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
on the beach. I mean, it was black, like you could barely see it, but they were definitely red. So now that it was really nice to see that they were actually wearing stockings, and actually the footwear they were wearing was fairly. If we're going with sort of a Renaissance sort of style footwear, it was actually fairly historically accurate as well. In Game of Thrones, everyone just wears ankle boots. Like honestly, all the women just wear ankle boots, or with a Cuban heel. Pretty much everyone. So this is. I thought that was a nice change. Why would you want to torture yourself, Rebecca?
I
Just for beauty.
There was a reason why I wanted to watch the Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode, which you know what?
That's still my favorite episode of that entire season.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
best episode of that entire season. Can
I just talk about this for a second, you guys? Okay, so I'm going to throw this out there. This is a great comment. Do you guys think that this fetish would have something to do with the possibility of him not being disabled, faking it to appear more innocent to his people? And I'm saying this because when AU was on here a couple of weeks ago with us, he thinks that Larys is faking it. Now, in the book, I don't think he is. I think he is definitely has a club foot or what have you, with a brace. But that I thought that was always like a very interesting, kind of like we were saying. Remember, it was like, what's that other show we were talking about where The Usual Suspects, where he's
Oh.
just pretending to be
Oh my
a Kevin
gosh,
Spacey
a good
character.
movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so funny because like even when like they like showed his foot, like the close up of his foot, and just like the way he moved, I was like Kaiser Sose.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah, and I
Especially,
thought
was it Otto that looked at it as well when that when they did that close up or something? So even then, I was even questioning myself. I'm like, is it gonna be like a next season or something where it's gonna be like, oh, in reality, he was just faking it?
Yeah, like so in his own chamber or something, they'll show him
Mhm.
taking it off, and he just
like
get up
I
and
mean,
walk around
but
normally.
it's like, but you have his father and his brother that were
That's true.
so like that would be something like
Quite the con.
yeah, that would have been like talk about a long con.
A
It's like
long
this-
con,
yeah,
yeah. The long.
like,
By the way, though, did you notice that he put his cane aside and then they did a focus on his cane?
yeah, I did.
But do you know what that was about? Like, I mean, I know that there's the firefly in the
I'm
cane
sure
handle.
there's gonna be some. Yeah, I'm still not sure why they landed on the firefly. Like, George, I know it's not in the books, and like George is so precise on, like the animals he chooses and like their symbolism and like the mythology behind them, but I haven't quite seen why the firefly yet for Laris.
I thought like the color changed or something. Maybe I don't know.
Well, I was saying in my last video, like, so if you zoom in on his coat, though, I posted it on Twitter, and someone said, well, those don't actually look like fireflies; they look more like houseflies, and I agree, they do. So we were saying like a fly on the wall, like he's
but
listening in. But the other ones are definitely like one of his
on the HBO site. It is
Yeah.
definitely a firefly.
No. The ones in his cane and then the brooch on his assassins for sure are, but the ones on his buttons look like not a firefly. They look like a housefly.
Got it.
So I'm not really sure. Like Beesbury, like for instance, if you zoom in on him, he was wearing a little bee. It was so cute, actually. He's just adorable. I love Beesbury.
Poor Beesbury.
Poor Beesbury. Do you mean like? Yeah, that is like definitely
Even if he was on the wrong side,
Yeah. And
not
such a
that there's a right
violent
or wrong
death
side,
too. Like such a violent death. Like, well, I
And,
mean,
and
obviously,
anybody that says like, "Oh, that wasn't intentional," like, shove it. Like, I can't stand Kristen Cole apologists like at all.
there are apologists for Kristen Cole.
Oh yeah,
Just go on
yeah.
Twitter.
He's a
Yeah, go on
psychopath.
Twitter.
Like I think he's a psycho. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, just go on Twitter. You just find them, and I'm just like, come on now. Especially after this episode, I'm like, are you guys honestly still defending this man?
These are the same people that stand Christian Grey and that
Oh, yeah.
psycho motherfucker from 365 Days. Those are the same people who make excuses for Krispy Kreme. That's that is my theory. At
What's
least.
365 days?
sorry. I just want to address Dehay. Yes, but like in different mythologies, and they're still looked upon as like positive, like the big like sorry guys, my brain is fried. The big kind of like cross thread through like all the different mythologies is that like fireflies are illuminating, and like when like in mythology, like they shine the light on like certain truths or whatnot, but they're usually a very positive sign. And there's just something like it's not lining up with me for Laris, but I'm like you going with like George Germ being so crazy into mythology and symbolism.
Yeah.
But like there's something about the firefly and how much they keep like highlighting it feels clunky until like something's gonna happen and it's gonna be like, oh, got it. Like I feel like there's gonna be a scene.
It is a
where,
great show.
Fireflies like suffocate some.
Yeah, and
Never-
it's funny that there's fireflies in Lord of the Rings as well. So I don't know if you guys have all seen it, but
Do we talk about this? Like I always called them lightning bugs growing up.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't. I think in Canada we call them fireflies. What do you guys call them, Tatiana?
We don't have them here, so they don't exist here. I only ever saw them when I was over in the States. I always call them fireflies too.
What about you, David? What do you call them?
Yeah, fireflies.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I grew up in the Midwest.
Lightning bug makes sense.
I mean, same thing. Yeah.
You think about like, someone was to see that like in nature and everyone would come up with their own sort of name for it, right?
Yeah.
Jack, my husband, he grew up in the country, so they always have really weird names for things. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's not that. Like, he's like, no, that's what it's called. He's very earnest about it all. I'm like, no, it's not. No one calls it that. But then I shouldn't say anything because the other day I said this on Twitter and people probably think I'm an idiot. I didn't know what shipping was. And you just saw my thing, eh? And
no. That happened to me when I was on AU stream one time.
Yeah,
he was like, who do you ship? And I'm like, my favorite ship or something? And then like no,
I like the schooner. The schooner. I like a catch, I like Mutiny on the Bounty. That's a good one. No, but anyway, so I had no idea. And then I turned to Jack and I said, do you know what shipping is? He goes, no. And I'm like, I have no idea. And I'm just like, I'm such a bad nerd, but I had no idea. But then who is it? It was Middle Earth lore, Farhan, who was explaining it to me. And then I said, yeah, and I looked it up and it was like, it has to do with the X-Files, apparently. That's what originally it started. Although I think they did have like they did have it, but maybe it wasn't called shipping in those days. But anyway, I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what is going on. I'm a girl of the 80s. I had no idea what it was. So anyway, so I learned something new this week. I was today years old when I learned that.
Oh, you sweet summer child. I can give you a crash course on shipping. I have been at it for like over a decade. I think it all started with Sherlock. I was and still am a fierce John Locke shipper. Sherlock Holmes and John Watson have been husbands for over a century, and absolutely no one can say anything different. Absolutely no one. Fuck Mary Watson. Anyways.
Tara Incognita, what's going on? She says, I think I gotta go. Air isn't great, but it's improved somewhat.
She has to take out her dog. But it's like apparently their weather isn't the best, but they're trying to get their dog out. Yes, murder husbands.
Yeah, I was a big X-Files fan, but I didn't even know that term. So anyway, you learn something new. I'm an old lady. What can I say? I always use that. I always fall back on a middle-aged lady here. But I can always learn something new. Oh, you have wildfire smoke. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh
no. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and it's terrible. And we have smoke and fire in the back.
Just about to say that.
Yeah, totally. So anyways, I hope you're safe. Oh, by the way, can we talk about, just quickly before we go into anything else, Rebecca, did we talk about this last night about the opening? Someone said I wasn't crazy about the opening. What have you guys been thinking about the opening of the show? Like, I don't think we've talked about it on any of the streams.
I've been skipping it, but I did watch they definitely finally updated it. Were like a noticeable update.
Yeah, I think it's Think Story, from a YouTuber here called Think Story. He did like an explained video of the episode, and he like explained which round thing is which. Like apparently Allison's has like the light tower, the lighthouse, and then the 7-pointed star, and you can see that Viserys's logo has been covered in blood, because that's what happens when they're dead. And then you can see like the three you can see her three kids and well her four kids, but Dayron, he's not gonna appear until season 2. Yeah, you can see him like in the middle distance over there. And you can see like I think Helena's was a spider because she loves
She likes
bugs,
that.
and I loved her embroidering like spiders, like fuck flowers, I love you. Um, the oh my god, I think Aegon was a set of teeth for like the
No,
baby.
Aegon
Was
is
it
a
baby?
naked lady.
It's a naked lady, exactly, because
Naked
he's
lady.
just a gigantic
okay.
couple, and Aemond is a sapphire. And also, I was going to say about Aemond, I was going to say apparently in somewhere I think in Twitter or something, they're calling Aemond almond, because apparently every time you type in Aemond, the autocorrect spells out
Autocorrects.
almond.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. Yes.
So now he's almond.
Yeah, I want to. So Tara and Cantina. So she's just saying, thanks, guys. Have fun. You'll probably still be going on when I get back. Laugh out loud. Well, we're trying not to go too late tonight because we're like, I think we're all really exhausted. Tatiana's got to work on a costume. Rebecca pulled an all-nighter almost, and I was up super late. No, she wasn't an all-nighter, but
No, I just suffer from insomnia. Like that's
and
it.
David, how are you doing there? Are you're okay? He's got to leave at 9.
Oh, I'm
now,
okay,
so-
but after
yeah.
this stream, I go into another stream,
gotta
so
go
I'm
to
gonna
the
be
stream,
tired
yeah.
right after that stream.
Yeah, we were saying last night like someone was asking if it was a Black Widow, and I would say no. A Black Widow actually has a red diamond,
It's like an
right?
hourglass.
Hourglass, yes.
Yeah.
So I thought it was like at first I thought it was gold, but I could be wrong. I thought it might have been a gold orb.
I thought it was black and red.
Yeah.
Black and red. So
I
it's
saw
Targaryen colors. Yeah.
I like how like all of a sudden like all we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes is bugs.
Yeah, bugs are awesome.
They are.
I have to say though, it's so funny because I'm not I don't want to say I have arachnophobia, but I'm a little bit afraid of spiders. And so like, I'm watching Harry Potter and I'm like, oh, please don't let it be a spider, right?
So you're like Ronald Weasley there.
Yeah, and then I'm watching Lord of the Rings and I'm like, oh, please don't let it be a fucking giant spider. Like, please, like so. There's always going to be spiders in there. They are pretty cool, though, I have to say. Bugs seem to be her oracle. Yeah, that's a really good point. We were talking about this last night. We were saying maybe her, that could be her oracle, because I was saying, maybe when she's doing embroidery, that might, help her channel. But it could be just insects in general, maybe help her channel, because she's holding an insect.
Like that first time we saw her with the centipede, that's when we heard he'll gain a dragon when he closes an eye, or like however she said it. It sounded much cooler, but also like I've been wondering about okay, so she's a dreamer, but like, where's the line between like a clear, coherent dream that like maybe Viserys had, where she's like getting like patch face-esque, like, because she doesn't speak plainly about it. She only speaks in riddles about it. Where like Viserys could say like, this is the dream that I had, essentially, where she only is just like, the beast beneath boards, the beast beneath boards. And it's like, well, what did you see? Like, and I want more time with Helena. We should have more. I want more time with her.
She's like the only Targaryen / Hightower that I actually enjoy watching in this show. Every other one.
Honestly, and also I always notice her costumes. The only time she has worn green in the entire show was for Driftmark, and I think that's because Allison put her in that dress. Every other time, even for Aegon's coronation, she doesn't wear green. She wears yellows. This last time, she wore a really pretty blue dress that I really liked, from what little I could see of it.
Yeah, someone said it looked like I'm not as much
like marble.
Like, yeah, but it looked like her dragon, like her.
Yeah, Dreamfire.
Dreamfire, yeah. I know. I noticed that too, Tatiana. So she's been wearing kind of gold.
Yeah, and apparently, someone in the comments said that none of the kids are wearing green this episode.
Oh, interesting. You're right.
Well, Aegon is
Yeah.
wearing black.
Black.
Yeah, and I was a little surprised. I mean, like,
I thought it was a little bit. I thought it was a bit much. Like well, and I talked about the crown last night. Tatiana, what did you think of the crown? I have a picture.
Where are the rubies? Where are the rubies? Where are the rubies?
there was a ruby.
Where are the rubies?
There was a ruby. This thing to be surrounded with rubies. I can barely see the ruby. I want big rubies. Like they literally had like the way the goddamn crown was designed. It had like the setting for a ruby. They just didn't put it in. It was so frustrating. I was like, what?
Oh, you guys remember? It looks like there's a tiny little ruby in the front. Like a tiny little one.
Tiny.
Yeah, and one of the things I was saying last night, which I thought was funny because like George kind of, I think he contradicts himself, but in the World of Ice and Fire, and George speaks, like, when he's done interviews or whatever, he refers to Aegon's crown as being Valyrian steel with these square cut rubies. But in Fire and Blood, he describes it as an iron crown that like Krispy Kreme puts the iron crown on Aegon's head. And so I'm kind of going, so it looks like they went with the iron as opposed to the Valyrian steel. It looks so it looks almost like it looks like a building. It looks like they're putting a building on his head, like a mini building.
I can totally see that.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
Damascus crown would have looked so cool. Absolutely. Yeah. Red Wolf, by the way, Red Wolf and I did a live stream a couple of weeks ago. Was it a couple of weeks ago? And we were talking about Damascus steel, which is basically in universe would be Valyrian steel, but oftentimes it has that beautiful like marble watermark in it. Yeah, Jeps didn't like the crown.
It looked very
hate the crown. Yeah, it looked like a brutalist building. And it was funny you should say that, Silver Scale, because last night I was when we were on Alicia's stream, I was mentioning that I said, what did you guys think of the sets and everything? Everything looks so kind of ugly. Like the dragon pit looked really like kind of like, I couldn't figure out the word. And I'm like, yeah, brutalist. Everything was like giant, like just overwhelmingly just sort of go ahead, talk.
Thinking it just now, what it kind of reminded me of? Both the Dragon Pit, this episode, and the Crown. Mm-hmm. Have you guys seen Metropolis, the really famous silent film?
Yes. Is it Fritz Lang?
Fritz Lang, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
The building from Metropolis?
I have to look at that. Well, and that is sort of, I think they've kind of gone with a deco kind of design.
Art Deco, yeah.
Art Deco. But it does. It's very like there's a band and then it's very like angle, like hard angles on it. And heavy on the head that wears the crown. Well, it was funny because like with Joffrey, whose crown I love, they purposely made it kind of small, so it kind of went like sideways slightly on him.
Yeah.
So they maybe wanted it to have that like that weight to it, but it just was really fucking ugly. I was like, would Aegon have worn a crown like that? Like the first Aegon?
Without rubies?
Without
Bitch!
rubies?
I want my rubies!
I want my babies.
I
want my baby
think
back,
that
baby
crown,
back, baby back ribs.
I think that crown would have been better getting rid of that like that ruby chip.
Yeah, it would have been better without the rubies. If you're not gonna do rubies,
either give me all the rubies or give me none. Just
it's a Valyrian circlet.
Tiny little ruby. It's like
what?
Oh, and the other thing is, Helena was supposed to get a crown as well, and she didn't get. Where's her crown? Where's the crown?
Yeah, there was both of them.
Okay, where is Allison's crown? Why
Allison should have been wearing a crown. It's sort of funny. Like, remember Game of Thrones, and I bitched about this so much. David's just going, what is going on here?
I suppose it's like the costume segment. I'm like, since I'm not that diverse.
Sorry, yes.
You can, you can do like your general opinion about costumes, even if you're not like.
I still like the series Crown, so it's like I'm looking at that. Last time we see it like being placed on his body, I'm like, that's cool. I was like, are they gonna put it on his son's head? But then they give us this black one. I'm just like, why?
I think Allison places the crown on Viserys's body as a way of like, we're retiring this crown. We're no longer using this crown. Now the crown goes to, now it's Aegon the Conqueror's crown. That's why Eric, spoiler alert for the next episode, he manages to get it and take it to Rhaenyra.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird crown action going on in the A Song of Ice and Fire. Like David, in terms of because you're not reading the books, but there is some book stuff regarding the crowns. And but I was going to say, one of the things that really, really annoyed me in Game of Thrones is they never gave Dany a crown, even though it's in the books. And then I remember Michelle Clapton, I adore her. But the one thing I never, ever, ever agreed with her on is that she said, well, Daenerys doesn't have a crown yet because she didn't earn the crown. And I'm like, what are you talking about, bitch? She's totally earned that crown.
It's like, did you not see her liberating millions of
slaves? That crown. And then so anyways, and I think she regretted it because after the show ended, she decided to design a crown for Daenerys.
That's funny.
But I wasn't crazy about them. But yeah, I was like, hello. Yeah, so Allison should have had a crown and Dany should have had a crown. But one of the things, well, we'll get to this in a bit. Hi, John. V's crown had a lot of interlaced weaving patterns while looking non-threatening. Aegon's looked heavy-handed. Yeah. Well, and again, like his crown really doesn't look anything like how it's described. There's no gemstones as well. I'm always like more gemstones, more jewels, like more, because royalty, I mean, one of the things I was happy to see is there are some gemstones in the, the livery that they're wearing. Oh, by the way, every dude in the show is wearing like a chain of order, a chain, like a livery chain. Tatiana, did you notice that? Like every dude has like a chain.
I noticed, and then some of them are like heavier. The
Lannister guy was just like, fuck you guys. I am gonna like wear like 20 pounds of like chain.
It was funny to me.
Look how rich I am.
It was funny to me that I think he was the only. Ironically, I think he was the only one in the Green Council that was actually wearing black. That was so funny and ironic to me.
I think there might have been it's hard to tell with the color grading, right? But I think there might, like, definitely Otto, like I zoomed in and there was definitely a hint because he hasn't really been wearing green. Like he's been wearing kind of like taupey, not taupes, but like grays. Kind of, he has never gone full green like Allison, but there was definitely like green in his collar. And then people were like, I was saying on Twitter, people were like, yeah, by the end of this series, like the greens are going to be in fluorescent green because like where are they going to go from here? Dante, hi Dante, says I don't think Aegon's crown is that ugly. The rubies just fell out. Well, there isn't a setting for them. Like I would totally buy that. Actually, that would be funny if someone just stole the rubies, and sold them on the black market. In my head canon. Oops, sorry. Aemon steals one of Aegon's rubies. Yeah, for his eye instead of the sapphire in the book. That would be very cool.
That would be.
I love that.
Unfortunately, Mike Boy, the sapphires in the show opened, so.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's there. And but I mean, I've always been like, where are all of Allison's gems? Like she doesn't have any gems on. She should be having way more gems. Like
she's too pious for gems.
Or sorry, not Allison. Sorry, not Allison.
Rhaenyra.
Yeah. Sorry, Rhaenyra.
Oh yeah.
I want to see her like, looking all like
I would have loved if in the first episode we could have seen like Emma wearing jewelry and then she would like that jewelry like passed down to Rhaenyra. Like she's wearing her mom's gems.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That'd be nice.
I think we should get this on a t-shirt. Maegor ruined everything.
I mean, Maegor being Maegor.
Okay, let's stop talking about the costumes so that Fandom can talk about some stuff with us because he's just like, this is super boring.
Should we talk about the scene?
Of course. Yeah, let's do it.
A half hour left.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this.
Flav. All right, so you want to talk about the coronation and all that? in the ugly dragon pit room that they
So,
decided to with the chipper chicken.
the chipper chicken.
The wedding planner. I was talking last night, Tatiana. I was talking about how they probably got a wedding planner to do the coronations. Like so Allison calls up the wedding planner and he's like, "Oh, do you want the chipper chicken or do you want the salmon?" And it's and then they're like, I need a facility. I need a place that would hold like 20,000 people. We'll have to go to the dragon pit. Sorry, darling. It's all I can come up with in this last minute,
I was like, when the hell did they rehearse this coronation thing? Because it was very organized.
Yeah, they did the wedding. The wedding rehearsal like before he died, like in secret.
Yeah, well, it's like we were talking about earlier, like when Queen Elizabeth died, like, they always have like these monarchs, funerals and coronate, like, so that was part of like all the secret planning that they were doing. Like they really didn't get like everyone's allegiances down, but they're like, we know what it's gonna look like, guys.
I mean, they were gonna send ravens to, what was it, the Reach, the Tyrells and the Tullys, to like claim their allegiances, and then it's like, but it was so fucking weird. I was like, okay, so y'all already had like the dais and the platform and the guards and like all this, and y'all were just expecting the crowd to behave.
Well, because we're blind. We're gonna take out my glasses for Tony. Tony, there you go.
Hey, Tone.
Hello there, Tony.
Now you can actually see my
it's like
Tony Teflon.
Hi, Tony.
And just so you know, I can't reach shit, so I'm gonna have my phone like real close like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like Red Wolf was saying that he likes Maegor. It's his favorite Targaryen, and I mean there has been something about the unreliable narrator in the books, painting Maegor to be Maegor the Cruel. Who knows, right? Because Day says Maegor wasn't bad. They didn't understand him. He gives House Targaryen the first female heir. I don't know.
This will go so far off topic, but should we like talk about the fact that like Aenys and Maegor may have not been Aegon the Conqueror's kids? So like that obviously will not be a thing for this show, considering like they've just like are so sold on this like Aegon's prophecy, which is like whatever.
Yeah.
And now Aegon too has no idea about this prophecy.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. He never heard it.
And I also, I mean, not surprising, in just going back to, Alicent's like being so fucking delusional about all of this, even knowing like how awful Aegon is. Like she just like, considering like he was rambling and said shit like prince that was promised, my only child, like all the shit that Viserys was saying like while he was dying and on drugs.
Yeah.
She's just like, yep, he said it.
She latched onto it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Again, the best lies are the ones you believe wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are the best lies.
Tony, poor Phantom can't get a word in edgewise because we're just like,
Please share with the class.
But yeah, once you hear that your son that you've been pretty much hoping would inherit the throne, and your dying husband's last words is, "Oh, quote unquote, he should, is the chosen one." It's like you're pretty much gonna bank that to everyone. So she ran with it.
But she also like, the fact that she has like zero reservations because he's such a shitty person. And that whole scene with her talking to Rhaenys, it's like, you should have been queen. I haven't even like talked about.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
like you should have been queen, etc., etc. And she's like, it's our jobs, like, we can like mold these men into being good people. And it's like, well, you've had 20 years to do that shit, bitch. And you haven't. Like, like, yeah. Like, I felt like I felt something for Allison during like the scene with Laris. Like it's gross. It's, she's being controlled once again by men, but then when she has the moment, like when she does have control and agency over shit, she makes the wrong decision every time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was saying also, I think this was going around like that. I think it was the writer actually who was saying this, and I don't really agree with this, but she was saying that Aegon, he kind of like he never got his father's approval. His father never once in his entire lifetime said, "You should be king. You should be on the throne instead of Rhaenyra," and so that's affected him deeply, as an excuse for his like fucking shitty, like
I would
would-be.
buy that if we also had like if we saw Alicent like pushing for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we had like we know she had said to him like, you're gonna be king, like, this has clearly been talked about amongst her and her children, but then at every turn, dad saying like, no, it's my other kid from my first family getting, that I could see that, but the show's not showing us that.
No, it's not.
So there's a little bit like, like they just like raised it, and I'm missing that. Like, I'm very much missing like.
But also, it's just really his birthright by the way like succession would normally work, and like her dad had already made that decision before he was born. It's not like he made that decision when he was born. He hadn't even been born yet when he made that decision, and he decided to keep it for the reasons that he made and told her. So but his father probably never had that it's funny, like when we had the very first episode, I think you and I or all of us were talking about this, that a lot of stuff probably could have been avoided with a conversation, right? It's sort of very Shakespearean, like, hey, like there's all this mistaken identity. If we had this conversation, then this probably would never have happened. There are so many things that have just like kept leading up to this. And one of the things we were talking about last night is if Alicent had told Rhaenyra that she was meeting with her father secretly, and that her father had asked to keep it secret. Hey, my dad's been kind of, pushing me toward, like, she didn't even have to like throw them under the bus or anything. She could have just said, I'm a little uncomfortable. My dad's been like kind of like wanting me to keep keeping your dad company just because he's sad and lonely and everything, and it's a little bit weird and awkward for me. Like, what do you think? Like, but she never did. She kept it quiet, right? And so a lot of all these things that have happened to Alicent as a result of this have come out of that, her dishonesty at the beginning, when she could have just been like straight up with her friend. And then she's like, but then to make it matters worse, she accuses Rhaenyra of lying to her and not being truthful. Meanwhile, dude, you're not being truthful. So it's like all these things that have happened. Like, I'm sure if you go through the episode, you could mark it like all these milestones along. Like, okay, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened, this happened. And then if you pulled out one of those things, then we wouldn't be where we are, kind of thing, I think.
Yeah. Although I feel like had Alicent said like, hey, I'm hanging out with your dad and giving him comfort, where Rhaenyra was like, my dad has pretty much abandoned me since my mother died.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that would have gone over well.
But I was saying, as she pointed it out, like, look, my dad has been like pushing me to do this, and I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm not super comfortable with it. Your dad's a nice guy, sweet and everything. I got him like a little dragon for his like, model. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have waited till Christmas, just so things weren't weird, But I, you know what I mean? Like, I just think like a little bit of honesty, a little bit of communication could have served them. But these people are a bunch of motherfuckers, and they just, don't talk to each other, and they're family, and it's really weird. It's like
That's
like a
my
dysfunctional.
family.
It's like a
I would
dysfunctional
totally
family,
agree.
right? Like
If there was communication, there wouldn't be a show or a story at this point.
Well,
We need the drama, so no communication.
exactly. I mean, this is why we're here. I mean, this is the same thing. Like, should we talk about this? Like with Rainey's. Like, should we talk about that now? Who wants to talk
Yes.
about that first?
well, I want to hear
Rebecca, go.
I want to hear fandom.
Okay, Phantom, you talk about the whole scene with the crowning, the coronation, and then Rainey's. Do you want to tell us what your
Sure. I
thoughts
was
are on that?
talked about it earlier when I came on and introducing myself. But yeah, her coming in with her dragon, the Red Queen, loved it, interrupting it because again, people were coughing during that whole thing. I didn't like Aegon being crowned and whatnot, and everyone how they were like bowing to him, except for like his brother, Aemon. I'm like, okay, like no one said anything about that. But then she didn't say Dracarys to like anyone there. I'm like, one, you could have just, ended it by all means, but at least kill like one of the name characters or something. Then I would have been satisfied. But she kind of showed mercy based on like that conversation she had with Allison. So I get that point. And maybe in essence, it's like if this war is going to start, let it be through, between the side with Allison and then Rhaenyra, as opposed to her.
Yeah, and one of the things that like again, the writers and I just didn't agree with this at all. As she was saying, she was looking at a mother, and I'm like, I don't buy that at all. Like, you've got so you got Allison who's standing there, and then she's got like Aegon is behind her. Oh, here's a mother. I'm a mother, and she's a mother, and I'm looking at thinking, oh, I can't do that. And as other people were saying, being a kingslayer is a big deal, and doing that like that would be without honor. So I think that's more what it was: kingslayer.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that, Tatiana, about that whole thing?
I mean, that's when I shrieked so loud that I woke up my parents, and my dad had to shout at me to keep it down. So it was a badass moment. She definitely killed a few hundred people for it,
Unnamed
but it was,
people.
yeah. I saw a few. Well, I saw a few flying bodies here and there. It was still fucking awesome. It was a badass moment, as I have already said. And I heard that it's like it was the closest outside of like last episode that she ever came to being a queen. She already is, but like actual queen. Now her facing down Allison. Yeah, I think on the one hand, I think that scene rests on the scene beforehand between her and Allison in her room. I think from that comes this. They had this conversation and telling her that she should have been queen, that Viserys would have been happy just being a country lord somewhere working on his little model. It could, and I mean, it was obvious that she was buttering her up so that she would like switch allegiances. But also, I saw it as like a gigantic fuck you because one, she never got to be queen, but Rhaenyra could be queen. So some woman has to be a fucking queen because she knows her goddamn second cousin ain't gonna be it. Because I think she know enough to know that he a little bitch. And what else was I gonna say?
Technically, he's her first cousin once removed.
That too, sure.
Sorry.
A cousin, all the cousins.
Yeah.
They're all cousins. The cousin of my cousin. But basically, it's also, bitch, you imprisoned me, and then you sit there and beg for my allegiance after you hold me prisoner in the house that I grew up in. Be fucking lucky that I don't burn you alive because I respect you and your intelligence enough. to not do that. And because again, I'm no case layer. I have at least some honor where apparently y'all don't. I'm not gonna go. Deuces. Bye. I think that's what I thought it was going on. And she wants to give Rhaenyra the chance that she didn't have to be a queen.
Well, it was funny because when I was watching the show, I was telling this to Alicia and Bex that I'm watching the show, and I don't know if I was like focusing, like Tatiana, you probably do this too. I was kind of focusing on Aegon's costume and just the crown and everything, and I didn't even notice that she had snuck downstairs, kind of thing. That I was
did.
like, and then so when she burst out of the floor, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I said to Jack, what happened there? And he's like, oh, didn't you see? She went downstairs and she, got her dragon and burst out of the floor. Cause I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was like a terrorist attack. I was just like, what is happening here?
There's a
terrorist attack in King's Landing.
You're wildfire! Cersei's back!
Somehow Cersei is like come back like, I don't know, 170 years.
Cersei's a time traveling time lord!
Exactly. So I didn't know what was going on. And then it was like, your brain sometimes takes a moment to kind of catch up to what's happening. And I was like, what? And so then when the episode ended, I was telling Alicia that I was supposed to send her something. And I said, I got so like, what is happening here? I actually had to go rewind it and find the point where Rhaenys is actually sneaking downstairs. And then we had a discussion about her armor. Like, when did she get her armor? And we sort of concluded that we think she probably had her armor on when she left her, when Eric.
But did she have time to put that on though? That was like the question.
I was like, wait, girl, when did you put that on? I mean, you look fabulous. You like work, bitch. But when did you put that on? I mean, well, I think is that Eric helped her put it on to make it faster, and then they left.
Well, yeah, I mean,
by the way, he's my husband though, so I just.
Well, no, he's my husband.
Oh, okay, the other one's mine.
Oh, so you want the
here?
I
get the cast off. I get the Alison Hightower version.
But no, I mean, well, we can like fight for it, or
we'll fight for him,
like but yeah, she's escaping a castle that she is a prisoner in. It totally makes sense. Although the big question mark is like, why is her armor there and not in the dragon pit? But yeah, I mean, logically it makes the most sense that
I just said she was holding the cloak like really tight around her, like what the way that Rebecca's wearing it, and I could see just sort of like just the silhouette of it look like underneath her cloak because it was sort of pulled tight, and then when they do a wide shot, you could just see only her boots. So I just thinking. And if you go back and watch it, he shows her, he comes in with the cloak because Jack's like, where did the cloak come from? There's so many cloaks in this episode, right? Like, how many cloaks? I was going to do a cloak count and then do a cloak, like a drink, every time I saw a cloak.
God, you would have
There's
died.
so many cloaks in this. And so he comes in with the cloak and then they do a hard cut and then they show them kind of escaping down the back staircase. And so I think she changed. So she was probably like, oh, good sir, would you mind helping me while I dress in this lovely armor? Unfortunately, I'm going to have to disrobe. And he'd be like, oh, good lady, of course.
No, I don't think that's not, I mean, she loves her husband. She do love her husband. She ain't like that.
No, I know. But he's been away for 6 years.
He's not dead yet.
Have you guys seen the meme where he comes in with pizzas? Have you seen the pizza meme? Where Corley's comes back with like a stack of pizzas.
Oh yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's a cool moment, laugh out loud. It's weird as to why Rhaenys would have it in the palace in the first place, unless that's what she normally wears. And she changed into her court garb. Well, even her court garb is kind of like slightly masculine. It's like, I call it like Dany always had like her getaway outfit. Like she could always make a getaway if she needed to. She always had trousers. So she's wearing kind of like a trousery type of thing. She probably could have hopped on a dragon in it, but I just had it in my head canon that she had it planned. She's like, okay, he's gonna get me out of here if I can just get to my dragon. And I even had this idea that she could have just like done the whistle and then the dragon would just come to her window, like kind of like a magic carpet, and then she could just like hop on it. I mean, honestly, I should be a writer on this show. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
It writes
Like,
itself. It really does.
it writes itself. Like
I-
Disney is such a great, like, you could just go to Disney and borrow all these fabulous, like, I was even seeing like How to Train Your Dragon. By the way, I had mentioned this a while back, that even when it came to like the wearing the armor, which of course I was so thrilled to see someone wearing armor, I'm like, How to Train Your Dragon had a great scene in there where they're making dragon armor, and I'm like, why aren't they doing this in House of the Dragon? Sorry, in Game of Thrones. It was such a great idea where he just sort of he puts this sort of glop or whatever on the armor, and then the dragon just like its fire breath kind of just cooks it and cures it. And I was like, why don't they do that in like Game of Thrones? Like,
Wait,
just go to
what?
Disney. They
I
have
have to
such
rewatch that movie.
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. I was like, it's so brilliant. Like it's kind of like a kiln, it's a dragon kiln, and he's just like cooking the armor so that it's protective in
Oh,
a warrior situation. I don't know if Red Wolf is still here. Yeah, here he is. He says, we got our scales on hers, at least costumeco.
yeah.
Absolutely.
We got scales. I was
Here
so
they are.
happy.
Here's the scales. Now I have to say, I think this looks beautiful, but it looks kind of like it's made out of plastic.
I mean, it is.
Probably, right?
I mean, the everything they did was like 3D printed.
3D
This-
printed.
this-
It is. Yes.
3D This is 3D printing.
It's a beautiful design, though. It is a beautiful design. By the way, last night, this is one of the things I was doing last night before I went to bed. I was watching, I think it was IGN interviews Scala Gladiatoria talking about the armor in House of the Dragon. It was really good. It was really fun. So I recommend everybody watch that if you can.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I still love it, says Jeps. All right, so what else do we have to talk about, my kids?
Oh, the fight between Krispy Kreme and Sir Auric and Aemond and Aegon, just being just some little bitches, all of them together all at once, and the conversation between Aegon and Alicent in the carriage. What do you actually? I was gonna ask a question. What do you think she meant when she said "you imbecile"? Because apparently some people are saying it are seeing it as like a loving way. It's like, you imbecile. Of course I do. I saw it as, you imbecile. You think this is not the time for that? This is not the time.
Yeah, that's how I took it. I could see it taken either way, but that's how I took it.
I think that was her trying to be really kind and not say, of course I don't love you, you're a fucking monster.
Mm-hmm.
But still trying to be like kind and motherly. Like, it was a weird moment. But again, it's like, she practically is like, you're no son of mine, the last episode. It's like, here you are, now you're my king. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, I thought he was gonna stab his mother in
really?
that episode. So I was like, then again, I did watch like Halloween Kills, so it's like how it ends. So my mind was like still all over the place.
Your mind was in Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. I know I've been watching a lot of horror movies too, and I was who was it who was saying about Aemon tiny waist? We were talking about this where like how little his waist is. Remember, Becks? We were talking about
he is twink. He's a full-on twink. Yes.
I was
in the best
has
way.
A bit of a dancer's body. Like dancers oftentimes.
He probably is.
Slim waist, yeah.
I can see like
he's from another show though. Is it Black Sails? Or
probably I have not seen it.
Vikings.
Oh.
He's from another show. Like both him and the actress who plays Helena are both from the same. They're from the same show.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
So I'm not sure what show it is. You guys will probably know. He's probably corseted. Maybe he's the only one in the show wearing a corset.
I mean, I think if he tight laced that corset, he would have like a 16-inch waist.
Yes. Do you know, by the way, that the actress, or sorry, that because I just watched The Empress. Do you know that in real life, Empress
Cece?
Cece had an
Cece.
18-inch waist
Of course she did.
in
She was obsessed.
IRL.
Also, I was gonna tell you this. I also just saw The Empress. I also
Oh,
saw
Last
it. And
Oh, you
Kingdom.
did? Okay, we'll have to talk
Yes.
about it.
Sorry, Last Kingdom.
The Last Kingdom, that's it. Yes.
That's the
Which I
thing.
haven't seen, but it looks really good. Thank you.
Yes.
They said
Oh,
that.
sorry. I
Also-
was looking at it, and the chat hat was all over it.
If they, yeah,
There was
if
a
you
show?
say, well, hello, have you not seen Ghost though? He says if you say "I love you" and they don't say it back, they don't love you. No, not in Ghost. In Ghost, he did love her. She said "I love you," and he said, "What did he say in Ghost?"
Like,
He says, "Patrick Swayze." He
I
can't say "I
remember.
love you" until he's like a ghost. Yeah, me too.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
So, okay, so is there anything else we want to talk about? Because we have to let Fandom go. He's hopping on. Oh, where are you going, Fandom?
Oh, it's a DJ11 channel. We're going to talk about the same thing.
Oh,
so-
well.
But
Have
one
fun.
more thing, though. During that whole
Yeah.
fight scene when, oh my gosh, his name is Aegon was talking to Aemon, I thought for 1 second he was going to like try like maybe in the future like orchestrate him to like ship him out and just leave so that he can potentially be the heir. But that didn't happen. And then they just made sure that he would become, crown king by the end of the episode.
Yeah, we were talking about like yesterday how there's this second brother syndrome. The second brother always thinks that the first brother isn't deserving of it or doesn't want it even. And I guess that technically happened with King George. His brother didn't want it, and
Oh,
Yeah.
during George VI and Edward VIII.
he actually, his brother
Abdicated.
abdicated, and George did become. But I don't think George wanted it either. Actually, now that I think about it.
No, he didn't want it either, but he embraced the duty.
Yeah, so that's Elizabeth's father. What's the Empress? It's a TV show.
It's a German TV show on
A
Netflix.
German TV show. Did you watch it with? Did you watch it with the German?
I watched it with the German.
Me too. With the subtitles.
It's so much better. I started watching it in English. It just felt odd, and you could tell that they weren't speaking the same language.
I cannot figure out how to turn like some shows like automatically like they are in like their original language, but I can't figure out how to turn it off. Like I can't figure out the language option in
there's a button when you're watching the episode that's like subtitles and audio.
I get subtitles, I don't get audio.
I don't know. Mine's
That's
just
weird.
automatically set that way, and so I didn't even have to choose. I just went in. But my sister, she said she watched it with subtitles because she likes knitting and stuff, so she can just like listen if she wants to. So
I mean, when I started watching it, it was in English. It started out in English, so I had to change it to German and then the subtitles to English.
Yeah, because I was saying like as soon as I saw it, I recognized the actress in it from Dark, which is also a German show that I binged. Really great show, and so but when I clicked on it, it was already set to the titles, and then I just watched it in German.
Also, Heidi, you have to do a video on those goddamn costumes because my God. I have visual orgasms for 10 episodes.
The hat in the Hunt episode.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
you know what's funny
bitch.
though? Nanny who we had on
the yellow top.
Oh
Sorry,
God. Oh yes.
The yellow top and the purple skirt when she arrived at the palace. Oh, so good.
Yeah. Nanny, who I did, who came on our Bridgerton live stream that we did, though, she did not like it. And I'm like, really? And she said that because she lives in Germany and she grew up watching, like, I guess there's this actress who used to play Cece all the time, Elisabetta or whatever. And so she just always knows that. And I'm like, oh, really? Because I didn't even know really much about her. I had to look it up after I watched it. But I really, really loved it. I thought it was great. And I thought the costumes were really great. But I am working on a video on it.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yes.
also all of the archduchesses, the mom, the his mom's costumes. Oh
Amazing.
my
I
god.
know. Yeah, I was looking into it. There was these two sort of couture designers who made all of her costumes and all of Cece's costumes, made both of their costumes. Yeah.
Like
So
honestly, I didn't really mind the story all that much. I was like, okay.
I know his hat was
Surprised
so
no one
funny.
mentioned that hat in this whole
Yeah.
stream.
I actually
He
didn't
looked. Oh my god.
I
He
said that
looked
he
like
borrowed the hat from what's her name from The Witcher?
Oh
The
yeah.
daughter or the princess, Cirilla. I said he
a
borrowed her hat. You know when
series.
she pretends to be a
Hmm.
commoner with the boys and
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I thought he looked like a thumb.
I don't yeah, it was pretty funny. Okay, anyway, so before we have to let Phantom go. So Phantom, why don't you tell we've been talking over you this whole stream. I apologize.
No,
Why
it was
don't
mainly
you
just the costumes part, and it's still
Okay.
to this day like that hat thing. Like I've never seen women scream over hats like that before. Shoes, bags, but hats, never. So that was just a lovely experience.
Well, they're like, yeah, they're 18th century or 19th century hats, though. It's like,
It's
hunting hat.
like
A hunting hat,
it's
it's like pretty amazing.
it's
Yeah,
it's just it's everything. It's all
it's
of it.
everything. Yeah,
Honestly, just watch the show for the costumes.
for
I didn't
sure.
really care all that much for the story until like towards the end, but the
Yes.
costumes let me hang on.
So what we'll do is, why don't we let Fandom just tell everybody where he can be found? I have your links and everything in the description and where you're going to be going next so that we can, we've got a sexfind.pro in the
Hold
chat.
on, I'll get it.
Uh-oh.
We had
They
one of
always
those last
appear
night.
everywhere. Like
They are.
it's like new.
Hey,
Like I
sex
never seen them
find.
before until like this year or something.
I know it's like it's a house of the it's because of the foot fetish. They've like been coming out. That's pretty funny.
It's like two
So
things in
Phantom,
this show.
just tell everybody about yourself and where you can be found and all that.
It's like two things in this show I did not expect. One, a prince to masturbate outside of a window, and now a guy just masturbating to like feet from like the princess feet, but the
Yeah.
queen's feet. But yeah, don't find me on my channel because I barely upload there on Fandom D. But you can pretty much find me on other people's channels. But I do co-host on the Citadel of Trivia, which like every 2 weeks or so we do some type of trivia. It's next week. We're happen to do the trivia on the House of the Dragon the entire season. So
Oh,
we do look forward to that.
what night is
Also,
that?
it's gonna be, I think it's next week, the October 25th. There we go. On the Citadel of Trivia. Secondly, after this, pretty much when I'm hopping off, I'm going to be on DJ11's channel where we will be talking about this episode. And we also talk about other stuff. We did finish talking about She-Hulk. Not sure when's like the other show we're going to be talking about. Maybe it's the Lord of the Rings one. I haven't seen a single episode of it yet. I've heard mixed feelings about it, but I'm still looking forward to it. As long as it's better than The Hobbit for me, I'm good. I was not a huge fan of The Hobbit.
I liked it. I mean, Tatiana, did you watch the whole thing?
They stretched out
the Hobbit trilogy.
No, the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power.
Rings
did
of
you finish
Power.
watching it?
Oh, I have yet to watch the last 3 episodes.
Okay.
I have.
Yeah.
I have
So
yet
no
to watch
spoilers.
I liked
it.
it.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I liked it
I
quite a
would
bit.
say it's on par with The Hobbit, probably for me better. Better than
Okay.
The Hobbit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
liked it. But there's a lot of people who are angry about it, but I don't know.
All I hear, all I see in like my YouTube feeds are betrayal of the franchise. This is horrible. How dare you, Amazon? Crucify him! Crucify him! That's all.
John
That's all I
Hester.
see.
Yeah. Anyway, I always say this is my. I always say this every time. It's a great time for fantasy. Fabulous time for fantasy. And then we're gonna have. I was saying this yesterday that we have. What is it? Shadow and Bones coming out another season. Ben Barnes, who is my other husband, the Dark Lord. I have so many Dark Lords that I'm in love with. The Dark Lord. And then and then we've got like The Witcher, I think is coming out another season. And
Oh yeah,
then
isn't it supposed to have like a prequel
I
series coming
think so,
soon?
yeah. So
Yeah.
lot and then Wheel of Time. And you can say whatever you I know some people don't like it. I thought it was pretty good. I was like I was turned to Jack. I was go, "Huh? What do you think? What do you think?" He goes, "I think it's pretty good." Like I think yeah. Yeah, we're same with She-Hulk. Like I turned to him, I'm like, I don't get
Yeah.
why people hate this show. Why they hate this show? It's kind of
The
okay.
finale, I was like, yeah, it could have been better.
Yeah, there's lots of breaking the fourth wall and stuff.
I guess like I think my thing with like Marvel, it's like I am so like I'm just so over Marvel shows.
I think it's probably they've probably exhausted it.
And this is I thought like my I only made it through like 4 episodes of She-Hulk. It's like I don't have time for this, and I didn't think it's not bad, but it's just also like I can't watch every fucking Marvel show.
I do, Carl. My husband's a total sweetie. So in IRL, in real life. So I just like my if I'm going to be watching something. But I mean, I've always loved Ben Barnes. Like he's great in Westworld as well, and yeah, he's just so good. I think. Oh, Homelander vibes. Yeah. Well, Homelander is so fun though. Like he's a great character. That's what I was saying. Like about Krispy Kreme. Like you got Homelander, who's like super evil villain. But also kind of got some cool
Yeah, I even met the actor in real life, the
Did you
Homelander
really?
actor. Yeah, when he went to New York
Anthony
Comic Con,
Starr.
I saw him. Like I saw inside, and like, he was just fantastic. I was like, I just love and hate your character at the same time.
That's
And he's
so
like, "Yo,
awesome.
Sam, yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure he must be because like it was funny. I found a picture of him that somebody had shared where he was in like what is it? What's that fantasy show from Australia? Xena Warrior Princess or something,
mm-hmm.
or Tarzan, one of those shows. And I was like, "Holy shit! Is that
Oh,
Anthony
Hercules.
Starr?"
Maybe it's Hercules.
Yes, Hercules. And so I think he's been acting like that's obvious. I think it's shot in Australia, right? What Hercules was, or Xena Warrior Princess.
So could be wrong.
So yeah, I just think he has to get nominated for an Emmy. If he doesn't get an Emmy nom, I'm going to be pretty upset because
Who, Patty? Absolutely.
Well, Patty too, but I was going to say the guy who plays Homelander.
Oh,
he's amazing. Yes. But yeah, Xena and Hercules.
So
oh, it's New Zealand. Thanks, Alicia.
Yeah, Xena, like it's an American show, but shot in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I think they must have used a lot of local talent. So okay, guys, we have to say goodbye to Fandom.
Yeah, so thanks again for having me. I can't wait to next time be on your channel. Maybe when you do the 100 series costumes or something, then that's a good time to welcome me back.
And I think Alicia likes the 100 as well. But
oh yeah, she does, except for until like season 3 happened,
yes,
and then like
it's
eye roll.
Yes, was it Bury Your Gaze? What is it, Tatiana?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bury the Gaze.
Bury Your Gaze. I was gonna say actually, Fandom, we're gonna do a spectacular end of the season. Tatiana can do that better than me. We're gonna do a spectacular. Yeah. We're gonna do that. So hopefully you'll come back for that. We're gonna do like not the super marathon, but maybe something a little bit smaller, and then people can just pop in like throughout the stream kind of thing, just to talk about once the whole show finishes airing. Some would say 100. The 100. Yeah, and I actually really like the costumes in that, Alicia.
I thought never
they did a really good job.
I already been spoiled to one major event, but I've never seen it.
Okay. Oh, that's too bad. Well, yeah, probably just what I mentioned. Yeah. So okay. Anyway, and then you guys, do you want to say anything else before we're gonna just wrap up, right?
I think so.
I just wanted to say that when I saw like Viserys's body just lying there being prepared for burial, I was like, "Baby, come back! Any type of fool could see there was something in everything about you. Baby, come back."
You can blame it on me.
We should just like rescore all these episodes with like yacht rock.
Yeah, totally. we're gonna make it like a jukebox video, a jukebox
Abs-
musical. We're gonna get Justin to do that, and we're gonna get him to do doon 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 doon, like for the Sex and the City. For the
I can
over
also.
the-
Oh,
I'm also a professional editor, Heidi.
Oh, okay. But no, we were joking about that. We're like, we'll get Justin to do it. I'm like, oh wait, Rebecca's a professional editor, but you're busy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, Jeps. Actually, Jeps, I got to interview the costume designer of The Expanse, so that was very cool. And I got to see Ava Sorella's costumes. Like, I got to see her closet. I got to go into her closet, so that was
yeah.
really
She. There's a. If y'all don't know, there's a video on this bitch interviewing the actual costume designer of the actual Expanse, and her going to the actual costume shop and seeing all them costumes because she's a boss ass bitch.
Thanks, Tatiana. Yeah, that was such a fun day. That was a really exciting day for me. Yeah, I did watch The Expanse. And I have all the books too, but I haven't finished reading them. So Jack bought them for me for Christmas, like the book collection. Thanks, John. Tati is my karaoke gypsy queen. Okay, so Tatiana, you just want to tell everybody where they can find you, and then we'll let everyone go, and everyone can go to sleep.
Well, you can find me on the next live stream, which is probably gonna be the last for now, other than the spectacular. You can also find me on Instagram on the Tatiana Melendez PR. I rarely ever go into it, but you can still check it out if you want. You can also check out my blog, tatianamelendez.com. I might have to pay the domain next month, but yeah. So, and there you can see like my performance photos, performance videos of me singing and acting my heart out. You can see like all my designs and just crazy shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've got all the links in the description. And then there's Becks. She's taking her glasses off.
I took my glasses off because I have a headache.
Yeah, I know. We just need some rest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a very sleep deprived Shadowcat Becks. You can find me on Instagram and occasionally on Twitter, Shadowcat _Becks, BECKS. Yeah, and we'll see each other next week. You guys still have a few more days to say happy birthday, like for the end of my birthday season.
Yeah.
All of Libra season. So shower me with love and praise. I'm desperate for it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Beto. Happy birthday to you.
Oh my God, that's so good.
I'm gonna hit you back up in March when it's my birthday.
Wow, so great.
If you need all your entire like astrological season to be like, I'm here for it.
Oh,
happy birthday!
Jackie's
everybody
birthday's
who
tomorrow. Happy birthday,
Oh,
Jackie.
Yay.
Happy birthday, fellow Libra.
Oh, I'm not sure with. Also, I was going to say, for the last episode, like our live stream, Alicia's going to be coming on. She's here in the chat right now, and she's bringing a couple of guests with her as well. So they're going to be surprise guests.
Ooh.
They're going to be surprise guests, and then we'll do the spectacular, and we'll welcome everybody back, including. I told I wanted Red Wolf to come back as well. Because we did a dedicated stream on armor, which was so fun, and then we could just talk about the what we saw in the armor. But yeah, we'll have it so that people can just pop in like at different times. Tony, he was here earlier. Hope he'll come back. Who else would we had? Tanya. No, who did we have? Yeah, we had Tanya. We had AU. We had Justin. Who else did we have? We had David Lightbringer. Yeah, so we've had a really great season so far, and it'll be fun just to kind of like talk about everything and have some cocktails and enjoy, and hopefully not be so tired like we are right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
so thanks.
I'll sleep before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll sleep before that.
Spectacular.
Yeah, and
After the
Tatiana will be able-
29th.
well, Tatiana hopefully will be able to let us know next week how it went with her costume.
Yes.
Well, not next. Well, next week. After next Saturday, and the 29th is the runway.
Okay, so you'll be able. Okay, yes. Tatiana, should you check? We'll do a karaoke night.
I love
Okay,
me a good karaoke.
Yeah. So, anyways, thanks so much, everyone, for coming tonight. I really appreciate it as always. You guys are awesome. And David, thanks so much for being our special guest tonight. And love to have you back anytime. So yeah, so everyone, we're finishing early tonight. I know this is kind of weird, right?
We didn't go on tangents. Woo!
Yeah, but we need our beauty sleep. I need my beauty sleep.
I need to fit. I need to work stress.
Tatiana's got to actually work, and then I think Rebecca's going to get some rest, and then Dave's going to go off. David, do you want to?
I just dropped.
No, it's already done.
Oh, Rebecca
Yeah,
just put it in the
dropped
chat.
it in the
Perfect.
chat.
So you guys, if you want to hang out still for a while, just go over to that stream next, okay?
Don't be that sleep deprived.
Don't be that sleep deprived, though. Yeah, you need to keep your energy. You need to, make sure you look after yourselves and your health and everything. So, okay, so we'll see you again, guys, next Tuesday. And yeah, so I am doing I'm partway through a video that I'm going to do on the Empress, just as a fun little, change of pace from the fantasy stuff. It's going to be really fun.
Jeez, oh my god, the costume.
So good. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Adios.
Bye, everybody.